What are the hot topics for the PMI-RMP exam? Where to focus? Now, we covered the 7 risk management processes in 7 sections of this course. This is the most important part of the exam. You need to understand the flow of the 7 risk management processes, what we are doing in each of them, what are the key outputs, what are the tools and techniques. A lot of the exam questions will be about the 7 risk management processes, with additional attention to the following topics, starting with the Monte Carlo simulation. As explained earlier, it's a quantitative risk analysis technique which we use to identify the risk level of completing a project on a specific date or a specific budget. It's one of the most important techniques in quantitative risk analysis, and the most important part for the PMI-RMP exam is the ability to read the simulation results. Expect to see not less than 5 questions, maybe more, okay, about reading or how to read the results of the Monte Carlo simulation. And I tried to cover all the topics in the Monte Carlo simulation lecture at the end of the quantitative risk analysis section. The second topic, key topic, is the risk response strategies. What are the 5 strategies for dealing with threats and the 5 strategies for dealing with opportunities? You need to understand each of them. Maybe more than 15 questions will be about the risk response strategies. Expect to see few exam questions describing a situation and asking you about the risk response strategy that was implemented, or the question will give you a situation and ask you about the best risk response strategy you need to implement. Risk register and risk report updates. I mentioned that multiple times during the course. It's important to be aware of the risk register and risk report updates after implementing each risk management process. The primary output of the identify risks process is the risk register and the risk report, but you need to understand when the watch list will be created in the risk register as an output of the qualitative risk analysis. When you will determine the initial reserves after the quantitative risk analysis, when the risk owner will be confirmed after the plan risk responses process, and so on. You need to master the updates that happen to the risk register and risk report as a result of each risk management process. Risk management plan and the key components of this plan, which we covered in the outputs lecture of the plan risk management section, is a hot topic for the PMI-RMP exam. You need to memorize the major items which a risk management plan must include, like the roles and responsibilities, the risk budget and timing, the probability and impact definitions, the prompt list, the risk breakdown structure. All these are components of the risk management plan. Advanced tools and techniques in risk management, which we covered all of them in this section, like the cause and effect diagrams, the affinity diagrams, the pre-mortem meeting, the analytical hierarchy process, failure mode effect analysis, force field analysis, influence diagrams, system dynamics. All these tools and techniques are important for the exam. Earned value management. In my exam, I had 2 questions about the earned value analysis. One of them was about asking about the schedule performance index for a project. So the earned value was given and the planned value was given and so on. And another question was about the budget at completion. This topic was covered in the focus on math section. Contingency reserves, also an important topic for the exam. You need to understand the difference between contingency and management reserves, and you need to understand how to determine the required reserves for the project. Expect few questions about this topic in the exam. And finally, the risk score, which is the calculated number that reflects the severity of a risk due to some factors, which are the probability and the impact ratings. This topic was covered in the qualitative risk analysis in a separate lecture, and you should expect 2 to 3 questions in the exam about the risk score definition and calculation.